Every dawn brings a choice. You can rise and meet the day, or you can stay wrapped in ease. Stoic wisdom warns us that comfort can kill ambition. This message is your wake-up call. Embrace action before comfort steals your fire. Lesson 1. Comfort numbs your potential and weakens your will. Comfort is a gentle lullaby. It sings you to sleep. In this sleep, you do not dream of adventure or growth. You simply rest. But rest, when it becomes a permanent state, is not restorative. It is corrosive. Think of a muscle. To become strong, a muscle needs resistance. It needs to be pushed, to be strained, to be torn just a little so it can rebuild stronger. If you keep that muscle perfectly still, wrapped in the comfort of inaction, it does not remain the same. It atrophies. It shrinks, weakens, and loses its function. Your potential is that muscle. Your will is that muscle. When your life is perfectly comfortable, you are never required to use your will. The remote is always within reach. The food is delivered to your door. The entertainment flows endlessly, demanding nothing from you. In this state of ease, your will is never exercised. It becomes frail. When a real challenge finally appears, a challenge that comfort cannot solve, your will is too weak to respond. You crumble. Your potential, that vast reservoir of what you could be, remains untapped. It's a treasure chest, buried under layers of soft pillows and warm duvets. Comfort numbs you to its existence. You forget the fire you have inside because you have only ever asked for warmth, not light. The Stoics understood this profoundly. They knew that a life without challenge was a life without virtue or strength. It's a life lived in the shallows, afraid of the deep waters where real character is forged. The numbness of comfort is not peace. It is the slow, silent fading of your own inner power. It is the quiet acceptance of a smaller life than the one you were meant to live. It is a slow surrender, not to an enemy, but to ease itself. Lesson 2. True growth begins when you choose discomfort with purpose. There is a powerful difference between suffering and chosen discomfort. Suffering is what happens to you. Chosen discomfort is what you do for yourself. This distinction is the key to unlocking all meaningful growth. Growth does not happen by accident. It is an intentional act. It begins the moment you look at something difficult and say, I will face this, not because I have to, but because of who I want to become. This is the essence of purposeful discomfort. The Stoic philosophers called this voluntary hardship. They would intentionally sleep on a hard floor, eat simple food for a week, or walk barefoot in the cold. They were not punishing themselves. They were training themselves. They were vaccinating themselves against misfortune by taking small, controlled doses of hardship. This trained their minds to be resilient and reminded their bodies that they could endure more than they thought. Think of the student who chooses the discomfort of late-night study. The purpose is knowledge and a better future. Think of the athlete who chooses the discomfort of a grueling workout. The purpose is strength and victory. Think of the artist who chooses the discomfort of facing a blank canvas, risking failure. The purpose is creation. In each case, the discomfort is a tool. It is a chisel used to sculpt a better version of themselves. Without purpose, discomfort is just pain. With purpose, discomfort becomes a transformative process. It is the fire that forges steel. It is the pressure that creates a diamond. When you actively choose your challenges, you are no longer a victim of life's circumstances. You become the architect of your own character. You learn that you can withstand the storm because you have willingly sailed into smaller, controlled winds. You build a deep, unshakable confidence that doesn't come from praise or external validation, but from the quiet inner knowledge that you have what it takes to face what is hard. True growth is not about seeking pain, but about seeking purpose so intently that the discomfort it requires becomes a welcome part of the journey. Lesson 3. Stoicism teaches that ease is not the path to virtue. In our modern world, we often confuse happiness with ease. We chase a life free from friction, free from difficulty, believing that this is the ultimate goal. The Stoics offered a radically different and more fulfilling vision. For them, the highest goal was not ease, but virtue. Virtue, in the Stoic sense, is not about being stuffy or perfect. It is about living with excellence, courage, justice, wisdom, and self-control. It is about being the best version of yourself, especially when things are hard. And here is the crucial insight. Ease does not require any of these virtues. Ease does not demand courage. It does not test your wisdom. It does not require self-control. A life of pure comfort is a life where your character is never called upon to show its strength. It is like a sword that is kept in a velvet-lined box. It may be shiny and ornate, but it has never been tested in battle. Is it truly a strong sword? No one knows. A life of ease allows your virtues to lie dormant, untested, and undeveloped. Now, consider a life that includes challenges. When you face a difficult situation with honesty, you are practicing the virtue of justice. When you act despite your fear, you are practicing the virtue of courage. When you resist a harmful temptation, you are practicing self-control. When you learn from a mistake, you are practicing wisdom. Hardship is the training ground for virtue. It is the forge where character is shaped. Ease makes us soft and entitled. We become easily angered by minor inconveniences. A slow internet connection, a traffic jam, a delayed package. This is not the sign of a strong and virtuous character. The Stoics believed that the universe or nature presents us with challenges not to crush us, but to give us opportunities to practice our virtue. Every obstacle is a chance to be brave, to be patient, to be wise. Therefore, a life dedicated to avoiding all difficulty is a life dedicated to avoiding all opportunities for true moral and spiritual growth. The path to a good life, a meaningful life, a virtuous life, is not paved with comfort. It is a rugged trail that demands strength and builds it in return. Lesson 4. Comfort creates dependency. Hardship builds resilience. Imagine a tree grown inside a climate-controlled greenhouse. It is given the perfect amount of water, the perfect amount of light, and is shielded from every wind. It grows tall and looks healthy, but its roots are shallow. Its trunk is weak. It has never had to fight for sunlight or hold its ground against a storm. Now, take that tree and plant it outside in the real world. The first strong wind that comes along will snap it in two. This tree is a perfect metaphor for a life built on comfort. Comfort makes us dependent. When our food is always prepared for us, we lose the skill of cooking. When our problems are always solved by others or by technology, we lose the ability to think critically and solve things for ourselves. When we are always protected from emotional distress, we lose the capacity to soothe ourselves and process difficult feelings. We become dependent on external things for our stability and well-being. This dependency is a form of fragility. It makes us vulnerable. Hardship, on the other hand, is the force that builds resilience. Think of a tree grown in the wild. It is battered by winds, scorched by the sun, and sometimes starved of water. To survive, it must grow deep roots to find moisture and anchor itself. Its trunk becomes thick and sturdy to resist the gales. It learns to bend without breaking. This tree is resilient. It has been tested, and through those tests, it has become strong. This is what happens to us when we face and overcome challenges. Every problem you solve on your own deepens your roots of self-reliance. Every time you push through a difficult task, you thicken the trunk of your willpower. Every time you navigate an emotional storm, you learn to be more flexible and grounded. The Stoics championed the idea of self-sufficiency, not just in a physical sense, but in an emotional and psychological one. The goal was to build an inner citadel, a fortress within your own mind that could not be breached by external events. This inner strength cannot be built in the greenhouse of comfort. It can only be built out in the open, by facing the winds of hardship and growing stronger because of them, not in spite of them. Comfort makes you a passenger in your own life. Hardship teaches you to be the captain of your own ship, capable of navigating any sea. Lesson 5. Avoiding struggle is avoiding strength. There is a fundamental law of nature. Strength comes from resistance. It applies to muscles, to trees, and most importantly, to the human spirit. To intentionally avoid struggle is to intentionally choose to be weak. It is a decision to remain fragile. Many of us spend our lives engineering struggle out of existence. We seek the shortest line, the easiest path, the quickest solution. We see struggle as a sign of failure or something to be eliminated at all costs. But this is a profound misunderstanding of what struggle does for us. The struggle is not the obstacle to the goal. The struggle is the path to the goal. A weightlifter who wants to lift a heavy barbell cannot achieve this by wishing it were lighter. The very heaviness of the weight, the struggle against its gravity, is the only thing that can make them strong enough to lift it. By engaging in the struggle, they become the person who is capable of succeeding. Avoiding the heavy weight means avoiding the strength forever. Let's apply this to our lives. Avoiding the struggle of a difficult conversation means avoiding the strength of a more honest relationship. Avoiding the struggle of learning a new, complex skill means avoiding the strength of a more capable and valuable mind. Avoiding the struggle of setting boundaries means avoiding the strength of self-respect. In every instance, the thing we are trying to avoid is the very thing that contains the reward we claim to want. The ancient Stoics saw every struggle as an opportunity. The philosopher Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote about how obstacles can be turned into fuel. An obstacle is not something that blocks the path. It is the path. A difficult person is not an annoyance. They are a training partner for your patience. A frustrating setback is not a disaster. It is a lesson in resilience. When you start to see struggle in this light, your entire perspective shifts. You stop asking, "How can I get around this?" And you start asking, "What strength can I build by going through this?" You stop resenting difficulty and start seeing it as a necessary and valuable part of your journey. You are not meant to float through life untouched. You are meant to be forged. And forging requires heat, pressure, and the impact of the hammer. Avoiding the struggle is avoiding the very process that makes you who you are meant to be. Lesson 6. Daily challenges sharpen your character and mind. Greatness of character is not born in a single heroic moment. It is forged in the small, consistent choices we make every single day. The idea of facing a massive, life-altering challenge can be overwhelming. But the path to resilience and mental fortitude is paved with small, daily acts of purposeful discomfort. These are the daily challenges that sharpen you, like a whetstone sharpens a blade. A blade that is never sharpened grows dull. A mind and character that are never challenged grow soft. What are these daily challenges? They don't have to be monumental. Take a cold shower for 30 seconds in the morning. It's uncomfortable, but it teaches your body and mind to endure a shock and remain calm. It's a small victory over your own desire for comfort to start the day. Choose to take the stairs instead of the elevator. It's a minor physical exertion, a small vote for discipline over ease. When you feel the urge to mindlessly scroll on your phone, put it down and read a single page of a challenging book. You are choosing focus over distraction. Commit to learning one new word in a foreign language each day. It is a tiny act of mental discipline. These small, seemingly insignificant acts are like daily push-ups for your willpower. Each time you choose the slightly harder path, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. You are sending a signal to your own brain. I am in control. My long-term values are more important than my short-term feelings. The Stoics were great believers in this kind of daily practice. They practiced mindfulness, reviewed their day, and constantly looked for small ways to align their actions with their principles. They understood that character is a verb, not a noun. It is something you do, not something you have. By embracing these tiny, daily challenges, you are engaging in a constant, low-level training for life's bigger difficulties. When a real crisis arrives, you won't be starting from scratch. You will have a well-trained will and a resilient mindset, built one cold shower, one flight of stairs, one page of a book at a time. This daily sharpening prevents the rust of complacency from settling on your spirit. It keeps you alert, engaged, and ready. It is the simple, accessible, and profoundly effective way to build a character that is as sharp and reliable as a well-honed blade. Lesson 7. Freedom comes not from comfort, but from discipline. This is one of the great paradoxes of a well-lived life and a cornerstone of Stoic thought. We instinctively believe that freedom's about doing whatever we want, whenever we want. It's the absence of rules, the indulgence of every impulse. This, we think, is true liberty. But the Stoics teach us that this is a trap. This is not freedom. It is slavery to your own whims, appetites, and emotions. The person who cannot resist the urge for one more cookie is not free. They are a slave to their appetite. The person who cannot control their spending is not free. They are a slave to their desires and, eventually, to their debt. The person who flies into a rage at the slightest provocation is not free. They are a slave to their anger. True freedom is the opposite. It is a product of discipline. Think about it. The discipline of managing your finances, saving, budgeting, investing, does not restrict you. It gives you the ultimate freedom. Freedom from worry, freedom from debt, the freedom to choose your work, and the freedom to weather a financial storm. The discipline of regular exercise does not restrict you. It grants you freedom of movement, freedom from many illnesses, and the freedom of energy and vitality. The discipline of managing your time and focusing on your work does not restrict you. It gives you the freedom of accomplishment, the freedom that comes from being skilled and valuable, and the freedom of having more leisure time later because you are effective. The discipline of controlling your emotional responses gives you the most profound freedom of all, inner freedom. You become free from being manipulated by others, free from the tyranny of your own knee-jerk reactions, free from regret over words said in anger. You are in control. Discipline is not the cage. It is the key that unlocks the cage. Comfort, which promises freedom, actually builds the walls of the prison. The more you indulge in ease, the more your world shrinks. You become afraid to try new things because they might be hard. You become trapped by your habits. Discipline, on the other hand, expands your world. It builds your capacity, your skills, and your resilience, giving you the power to go more places, do more things, and become more than you are. It is the internal structure that allows you to stand tall and strong. So, do not see discipline as punishment. See it as the path to liberation. It is the conscious choice to be the master of yourself, rather than a servant to your fleeting impulses. Lesson 8. The comfort zone is where dreams silently die. The comfort zone has a beautiful name. It sounds like a sanctuary, a safe harbor where we can be protected from the harsh realities of the world. And it is safe, but it is also a barren land. Nothing grows there. It is the quiet, carpeted room where great ambitions and bold dreams go to silently fade away. Every great achievement in human history, big or small, was accomplished by someone who is willing to step outside of their comfort zone. The dream to start a business, to write a book, to run a marathon, to travel the world, to find a meaningful relationship, none of these can be fulfilled from the sofa. A dream, by its very nature, requires you to become more than you are today. It demands new skills, new courage, and new experiences. All of these things lie just beyond the border of what feels comfortable. The comfort zone whispers seductive lies. It says, maybe tomorrow. It says, you're not ready yet. It says, what if you fail? It uses the fear of the unknown and the fear of failure to keep you locked inside. And so, the book goes unwritten. The business plan gathers dust. The running shoes stay in the box. The dream doesn't die in a dramatic explosion. It dies a slow, quiet death from neglect. It is suffocated by the very comfort that was supposed to keep you safe. The Stoics would argue that living a life of purpose and meaning requires you to constantly be moving toward what is difficult. It means choosing the path of growth over the path of stagnation. Your comfort zone represents everything you have already mastered. There is no growth in repeating what is easy. The real magic, the real life, happens in the space of uncertainty and challenge. It's in the awkwardness of the first conversation, the frustration of learning a new instrument, the soreness after the first workout. That feeling of discomfort is not a warning sign to retreat. It is a signpost that you are moving in the right direction. It is the indicator that you are on the border of your current capabilities, which is the only place where growth is possible. So you must see your comfort zone not as a home, but as a temporary base camp. You rest there, you recover there, but you are not meant to live there. You must regularly pack your bags and venture out into the unknown territory, where your dreams are waiting for you to come and claim them. Lesson 9. Embracing discomfort is the first step to self-mastery. Self-mastery is the ultimate goal of Stoic practice. It is the ability to command your own mind, to direct your will, and to act in accordance with your highest values, regardless of external circumstances. It is the state of being the ruler of your own inner kingdom, and the gateway to this kingdom is the embrace of discomfort. Why? Because our primary impulses are almost always aimed at seeking pleasure and avoiding pain or discomfort. These impulses are ancient and automatic. They are the animal part of our brain. The person who is ruled by these impulses is not a master of themselves. They are a servant to their own programming. The moment you willingly and consciously choose to do something that is uncomfortable, you are performing a revolutionary act. You are overriding your base programming. You are asserting that your conscious, rational mind, the ruling faculty, as the Stoics called it, is in charge. When you choose the cold shower over the warm one, you are telling your body, I decide, not you. When you choose to have the difficult but necessary conversation, instead of avoiding it, you are telling your fear, I decide, not you. When you choose to hold your tongue instead of lashing out in anger, you are telling your rage, I decide, not you. Each time you embrace a moment of discomfort for a greater purpose, you are strengthening the muscle of self-control. You are carving new neural pathways in your brain, making it easier to make disciplined choices in the future. This is not about self-punishment or seeking misery. It is about strategic training. You are systematically desensitizing yourself to the fear of discomfort. As you do this, you will find that the things that used to derail you lose their power. An insult from a stranger no longer ruins your day. A traffic jam is no longer a source of intense frustration. The fear of public speaking no longer stops you from sharing your ideas. You gain a sense of calm and unshakable stability because you know that you can handle feeling uncomfortable. This is the heart of self-mastery. It is not the absence of fear, anger, or the desire for ease. It is the ability to feel all of those things and still choose to act in a way that is wise, virtuous, and aligned with your goals. By learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, you reclaim your power from your fleeting emotions and external events. You become the master of your soul. Lesson 10. Wake up before comfort quietly steals your life. Comfort is the most cunning of thieves. It does not break down your door in the middle of the night. It does not announce its presence with a loud alarm. It enters your house as a welcome guest. It offers you a soft chair, a warm drink, and a pleasant distraction. And while you are sedated by its gentle presence, it begins to steal from you so quietly you don't even notice. One day, it steals an hour of your time that you could have spent learning. The next day, It steals a bit of your energy that you could have used for a walk. And it steals your ambition to start that project, replacing it with the easy pleasure of another episode. It steals your discipline, one small indulgence at a time. It steals your resilience, protecting you from every small hardship until you are incapable of facing a large one. It works slowly, patiently, and silently. You don't feel a thing. You just feel comfortable. And then one day, you wake up. You look in the mirror, and you don't recognize the person staring back. You look at your life and see the ghosts of dead dreams and forgotten potential. You realize that while you were resting, life was happening without you. The thief did not take your television or your wallet. It took something far more valuable. It stole your time. It stole your vitality. It stole the person you could have become. This is the wake-up call. This is the moment of clarity. The good news is that it is never too late to evict this thief. You can wake up now. Today, you can make one small choice that favors growth over ease. You can throw off the blanket and put on your running shoes. You can turn off the screen and open the book. You can make the call you've been avoiding. Waking up is not a single event. It is a choice you make again and again. It is the choice to live intentionally, to engage with life, to embrace its challenges as opportunities. Do not let the lullaby of comfort sing you into a life of quiet regret. The world is waiting for you with all its struggles and all its glory. The sun is rising. It is time to wake up